Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to cover 5 areas on your bike that you need to check over in the next couple of months. These are critical things that you need to check and they could end up saving your life quite easily. Obviously there are other things that you will need to check on your bike to keep it safe, but this is a quick check that you can do to go through the most important things to make sure that you're reasonably in good condition. They're not in any particular order, so let's start with number 1. When it comes down to it, it doesn't matter what is on your bike as far as engine brakes or anything like that, or even your abilities to a point. None of that matters if your tyres are no good. The one thing that is connecting your bike to the road is the tyres, so you need to make sure that by the end of the season you've still got decent tyres. Obviously the grooves in tyres are generally there for water displacement, so as we come into the autumn and the winter and it gets wet, you don't want to be on a set of, tyres you've completely worn out throughout the summer and there's no tread left on them at all. So you want to look them over across the entire outside of the wheel, side to side, across the circumference, front and back. No bulges, no big cuts or anything. Look for nails and screws and stuff like that. Just check them over and make sure that your tyre pressures are maintained as well, because that's quite important. These tyres are basically brand new, so I'm in good shape. Okay, so number 2 on the list is brakes. Obviously, one of the things you need to check is your brake pads. You can see wear indicators on those. It'll look like, if you get just the right angle, there's a little cut mark in them. You want to make sure you're above the bottom of that cut mark. If it's getting close to it, time to replace them anyway. Because obviously throughout the summer, you're riding quite vigorously, you're using your brakes a lot. You'll wear through them a lot quicker than, say, in the winter when you're just gently braking because it's wet. On top of that though, check the discs, make sure the minimum thickness is okay. There's not too much of a lip on the edge of the disc, make sure there's no cracks or anything like that. Where you often see the cracks form is between holes, just a light crack between the two. Also, you check your brake lines to make sure they're not rubbing anywhere, they're not loose, there's no weeping going on around them. Check the full run through the bike, make sure they're not rubbing on any wires or anything like that, because that can lead to electrical issues. And also make sure that your fluid is relatively new, so it's it's fresh, and also it's up to the right levels to make sure that your brakes are working perfectly. So then you've got your tyres and your brakes and everything working. That's the most important thing, because it's not speed that kills, it's stopping very quickly. And if you can stop before you get to that thing, save your life. Number 3 on my list is chain and sprockets. Obviously you need to make sure that the tension of the chain's correct, and if you look at this you'll probably say, is that a bit loose? Yeah, that is a little bit loose. Obviously it takes up a little bit that when I sit on the bike, but I do need to give this a little nip up. But yeah, you need to check your chain tension, make sure your chain's also in good condition, no stuck links. That means like 2 links which seem to be kinked all the time. You don't want that, because that leads to chain snapping, which leads to broken engine casings, locked up rear wheels, hurt feet, or you get away with it like I have in the past, but yeah, you don't want that. And also on the sprockets, you want to make sure they're nice even U-shapes with a thick tooth between. If they're really thin on the top, sort of starting to wave over, definitely gone too far with it. You want to make sure that that's right. I've seen, ones with multiple missing teeth. In fact, one of my early bikes, I think I took it off and I didn't realise I was missing 8 teeth. Yeah, you need to keep on top of this stuff. It's really important. Same for the front sprocket, you need to check that. Even though it's under a cover, go to the effort of having a look. And if you do need to replace your chain and sprockets, replace everything at the same time. You don't want to be replacing just a chain onto old sprockets, because it's a false economy basically. It's better to just replace everything at the same time. And at the end of the day, it's your life. Save an extra 30, 40 quid or something, just do the proper job. Number 4 might be a surprise to some people, but it really shouldn't be. Coolant and oil. You want to make sure your coolant is relatively new, the system's clean and there is enough of it, because that's going to keep your engine from overheating. And obviously with the oil, you want to make sure that that's relatively new within service spec, that you've changed the filter regularly and it's topped up to the right level and checked, because if the oil level gets too low and this engine, and this is an extreme example, seizes, the rear wheel is going to lock, and that again can lead to accident. Overheating can lead to problems, but just breaking down can lead to problems. And the overall lifespan of the bike itself, you doing regular oil changes and making sure the coolant's correct could save the bike's life. So, think about the bike as well in this. And for my final tip at number 5 is your lights. Make sure that your lights are functioning, your bulbs are all working, you've got high beam, low beam, your brake lights are working, make sure your indicators are working. No dodgy ones that do and don't work, bit of an iffy connection, sort those problems out. Obviously your headlight is the thing that helps you see in the dark and also other people see you. Your indicators to let people know where you're going, and your brake lights are to know when you're stopping. you really want all these things to be working. The idea of riding a bike with a broken tail light, for instance, is quite terrifying to me, because I would think this I'm about to get rear-ended at any moment because no one pays any attention. So number 5 might seem again like, is that really life-saving? Of course it is. Lights are really important. So there you go, there's my top 5 life-saving tips for checks that you need to do on your bike coming up to the winter. You need to do it periodically anyway. This is a good thing to do once a week, once a month. You know, it doesn't take a huge amount of time to go over it. And it means that you catch things at the right time before they go too far. It also keeps you safe on the road and other people safer on the road. It's a good thing to do. If you know anyone who's new to riding, consider sharing this video with them, because so many new riders don't know what they don't know, so they don't know they need to do these checks. And even if emphasising the importance of this to them means that they do some of them and it saves someone, well then it's a good thing to do. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new here, I'm on my way to 100k. And if you want to help support the channel, please consider doing that through Patreon. There are many benefits to that, but I would love it if you could do that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.